Have you ever thought of yourself as greedy? I have. I used to think that I was very greedy and that I wanted everything for myself. I used to be afraid of missing out and not receiving enough. So any chance I got, I would stock up on something that I wanted to use. And I thought that that meant I was a greedy person. But after analyzing the circumstances and thinking about my own motivation much, I have come to a conclusion that I was not, in fact, greedy. It was the fear that actually drove me to those acts. So, learning to deal with that fear of missing out showed me that I was, in fact, incapacitated by the fear of disability. I was afraid of losing my ability to work. Having suffered from a chronic illness for a while, I am at a risk of losing my ability to work. So realizing that this was a deeply ingrained fear in me helped me actually to cope better. And as I was examining my purchases, as I was looking at what it was that I was afraid of losing, I realized that most of the things that I was afraid of losing were the products that I was convinced were necessary for me to become a better version of myself, but not actually a better version of myself. This was propaganda and brainwashing from brands that were trying to push their unnecessary products onto me. And when I realized that I was going to be just fine without those knickknacks, I felt better about myself and about my inability to work harder and more and save. And I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about the fact that one day I won't be able to work, and one day I might not be able to afford food and housing. And the more I thought of this, the more I realized how insane it is that we people have to work for sustenance. And the more I explored of the leftist ideologies, the more I understand that communism and anarchism are in fact humanist, meaning that they have humans as their core values and not profit, like capitalism. Capitalism is not an ideology, it is just a mode of production. But under capitalist production, there are certain ideologies that are deeply anti-human. And the more I realize how much it affects most of us, the more I wanted to share it with others. Because when we're isolated, feeling greedy, feeling like we are contributing to the problem, we are powerless. We cannot do much. We cannot change anything. So we should lose our belief that we are the greedy ones, that we are going to misuse the means of production just like the people who are in charge of them now. We are not greedy. We usually are just afraid of starving. We are not going to continue accumulating stuff if we think together and if we help each other. Because once I was able to understand that I was not, in fact, a greedy person, my life has become much easier and better. And it was so much easier for me to live without this fear of being a bad person, of being a greedy person. So I think all of us should examine our motivations and realize that most of us are not greedy. Most of us are not going to want to exploit others. And if there are people who want to exploit others, usually they need help. So we don't have to leave anyone without help. We do have to unite and put as much energy as possible into helping and not accumulating stuff.